Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin. In the stillness of the universe, before your gaze touches it, the smallest particles float in a strange kind of silence. They are not here or there, not up or down, not one or many. They live in a delicate twilight of possibility, a state where the world waits to decide what it will become. This is the essence of quantum reality, the idea that the act of looking, of noticing, of becoming aware, may shape what is seen. Imagine walking into a room lit only by moonlight through a window. In the shadows, you cannot tell if the chair in the corner is empty or if someone is sitting there. For a moment, your mind holds both possibilities, empty chair and occupied chair, until you flick on the light, and suddenly, only one truth remains. Quantum physics suggests that on a far deeper level, the very building blocks of existence may behave this way, lingering in many states until the light of observation collapses them into one. It is not easy to picture this. We are used to solid things being solid, certain things being certain. A stone on the ground is simply a stone. A bird in flight is only a bird. But when scientists look at the tiniest scale, into the trembling hearts of electrons and photons, the boundaries grow softer. They find that an electron is not like a marble rolling in a fixed track, but more like a shimmering cloud of possibilities. It can be both here and there, moving in many directions at once. When unobserved, it dances in probabilities. When measured, when looked at, it chooses. The gaze itself, the act of knowing, seems to press it into reality. This is not a dream or a metaphor, but a truth revealed by experiments. In the famous double-slit experiment, light is sent toward a barrier with two narrow openings. If you do not watch, the light behaves like a wave, spreading and interfering with itself, painting patterns of possibility on the screen. But if you place a detector to observe which slit the light passes through, the pattern changes, the wave collapses, the light behaves like a particle choosing one path. The act of looking seems to change the outcome. This result has been repeated countless times, leaving scientists both amazed and puzzled. How can something so small, so silent, care whether or not it is seen? The answer is not clear. Some physicists say the universe does not care about you, that observation's simply another form of interaction. The detector touches the photon, and that is enough. Others suggest that consciousness itself plays a role, that the presence of a mind, a watcher, helps shape reality from the field of possibilities. Between these views lies a mystery as deep as the night sky. Does the cosmos wait for us to awaken it? Or is our awareness just one more ripple in the great sea of energy? Imagine standing by a quiet lake at dawn. Mist floats above the surface, and in the silence the water reflects every possibility. The shape of the trees, the glow of the clouds, even your own stillness. But when you step closer, when your hand touches the surface, the mirror breaks, and only one image remains. In a similar way, quantum reality suggests that the universe is both mist and mirror, both possibility and reflection, and that we, by looking, by touching with our awareness, may help decide what is real. It is not that we create the stone or the bird, but that in some hidden way, our seeing guides their form. Now imagine billions of such acts happening everywhere, every second. Atoms in your skin collapsing into their places because they are part of the pattern of life. Electrons in distant galaxies choosing their paths in waves of light. The universe is a symphony of choices, of collapses, of possibilities turned real. And at the centre of it all, there is this strange connection between the act of noticing and the thing noticed. A dance of the observer and the observed. A whisper that says, you are not apart from the world, you are within it, and perhaps, in ways we cannot yet explain, you are part of its unfolding. Some scientists describe it as the wave function collapsing, a dry term, simple and precise. But to the poet inside you, it may feel like the universe breathing, like a sigh of certainty after a long hesitation. The world waits, trembling in its probabilities, until the moment it is seen, and then it exhales into being. What if every glance, every touch of awareness is part of that breathing? What if you are woven into the very rhythm of creation, not as an outsider looking in, but as a participant, a gentle shaper of reality itself? There is humility in this thought. You are not the ruler of the cosmos, not the master who commands particles with your eyes. Rather, you are part of a vast web of observation and interaction, one thread among countless threads. The universe is not waiting for you alone. It is waiting for every act of noticing, every spark of awareness, every shift from possibility to presence. Still, there is beauty in knowing that even your quiet gaze at a star, your soft wonder at a flower, your silent awe at the night sky, may be part of the great act of reality taking shape. Now close your eyes and imagine the particles that make up your body. They too obey these laws. They too once floated in possibility, born in the hearts of stars, scattered across space, folded into the earth, until one day they became you. Your atoms were once waves of probability, until life's touch brought them together. And here you are, a being who can wonder about them, who can ask the question, do I help shape the world simply by being here? The thought itself is soft, calming, like the rustle of leaves in a gentle wind. It invites you not to solve the mystery, but to rest within it, to let it cradle you like a lullaby. Science is cautious. It does not declare that consciousness creates the universe, only that something curious happens when observation enters the scene. But you can carry the mystery like a lantern in the dark, a reminder that reality is not as rigid as it seems. Beneath the surface of certainty lies a dance of shadows and light, a play of waves and particles, a mirror that waits to be seen. And in your own quiet way, by being present, by noticing, you are part of that play. The chair in the corner, the star in the sky, the breath in your chest, they are not only things you witness, but also whispers of a world that responds to your gaze. The story of quantum reality is not finished. It stretches beyond what we know into realms we cannot yet imagine. But even here, in the simple act of looking, in the soft unfolding of awareness, you can feel its wonder. The atoms wait, the waves shimmer, and as your eyes meet them, as your mind touches them, the world becomes itself, again and again, in a dance as old as time and as fresh as this moment. To drift deeper into the mystery, you must imagine the world not as a stage built long ago, but as a stage that is being built at every moment. The boards beneath your feet are not fixed forever, but laid down one by one as you step upon them. This is how quantum reality invites you to see existence, not as something already written, but as a poem still forming, line by line, with every breath of observation. It is not only that atoms wait for your eyes, it is also that the fabric of the cosmos holds open a space for possibility, until some act of noticing guides it into shape. This does not mean the world is fragile, or that reality depends on you alone. It means that the world is alive with openness, a sea of unfinished sentences waiting for voices to give them sound. When you think about waves of probability, it may help to picture the ocean. From afar, the sea is endless motion, waves rising and falling, crossing each other, blending into a single shimmering surface. But each wave contains many possible paths. Some crash early, some travel farther, some lift into crests that gleam in the sun. In the quantum realm, particles behave this way. Each exists not as a single point, but as a wave of many paths, a sea of maybes. When left alone, they drift in this ocean of possibility. When touched by observation, one path becomes the story, and the others fade like foam on the shore. It is not destruction, but selection, a quiet narrowing of infinite openness into one delicate truth. Physicists call this superposition the state of being many things at once. An electron can spin one way and the other. A photon can travel through both slits at the same time. A particle can be both near and far as identity blurs across space. This is not metaphor. It has been measured, tested, repeated with care. Yet it feels like metaphor because it sounds so much like the stories we tell of dreams and choices. Have you ever felt that your life held many directions at once, like paths stretching into mist? Superposition is not unlike that, except it exists not in imagination but in the math of the universe. The world, at its smallest scale, carries many versions of itself, until something, an interaction, a measurement, a gaze chooses. This choosing is sometimes called collapse. It is a strange word because collapse suggests breaking, falling, even failure. But in the quantum sense, collapse is more like settling, like a leaf floating down until it rests upon the ground. The wave of possibility does not shatter. It simply comes to rest as a single story. Before observation, the particle is a cloud of maybes. After observation, it is here, not there. This gentle settling repeats endlessly in every corner of reality as atoms interact, as light is measured, as awareness drifts across the surface of being. The universe is not one grand collapse, but a trillion small ones, each shaping the texture of existence. To sit with this truth is to feel both small and vast. Small, because the laws that govern particles remind you that certainty is rare, that even the stones under your feet are built from mysteries. Vast, because you are not apart from these mysteries, you are made of them. The wave functions that once shimmered in uncertainty gave rise to the molecules that form your heart, your eyes, your hands. The same rules that guide photons in the lab guide the neurons in your mind. When you think, when you dream, when you wonder about reality, you are not stepping outside the universe to ask about it. You are the universe, asking about itself. Consider for a moment how light behaves in this story. Light is both wave and particle, both flow and spark. It shines through glass and bends like a river. But it also strikes the eye in tiny quanta, packets of energy called photons. For centuries, people argued over what it truly was. Newton said light was made of particles. Huygens said light was a wave. Both were right, and both were wrong. Quantum physics revealed that light is not either or but both and, shifting its form depending on how it is observed. To the poet's heart, this is not just physics but wisdom. Why must anything be only one thing? Why must truth be rigid? In the quantum world, truth itself is soft, pliable, ready to appear in different faces when called. This softness is not weakness. It is the power of openness, the strength of possibility. When a photon travels across the cosmos, it does not decide its path at the beginning. It carries every path within it, weaving across the stars, till at last some interaction, some meeting with matter or mind, calls forth one path to be real. Imagine that, a particle of light carrying the potential of the universe, choosing only at the last moment which road to take. And now imagine that every atom in your body, every breath of air around you, lives by this same openness. The universe is not a rigid machine, it is a song still being sung. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics take this further. They suggest that perhaps every possibility remains real, branching into countless universes. In one, the photon passes through the left slit. In another, the right. In one, the electron spins up, in another, down. In one world, you look to the stars tonight. In another, you do not. This is called the many worlds interpretation. And though it is debated, it carries a haunting beauty. It imagines reality as a tree forever branching, infinite worlds unfolding with every choice, every collapse. To the scientist, it is a bold way of understanding probability. To the dreamer, it is a reminder that existence is bigger than comprehension, more abundant than any single mind can hold. And yet, even if the many worlds exist, here you are, in this one, in this branch, in this flow of events. Your breath rises and falls, your eyes meet these words, your mind rests on the thought that reality is not fixed but unfolding. The other worlds may drift beyond reach, but the wonder remains like a quiet background music, reminding you that you are part of a universe that is endlessly more than it seems. The quiet collapse that brings this moment into being is enough to remind you. Possibility surrounds you, even now. At the heart of it all lies a paradox. Quantum mechanics is one of the most successful theories in science. It predicts with stunning accuracy. It powers technologies we use daily, from lasers to semiconductors to MRI machines. Yet its meaning is elusive. We can describe what happens, we can write the equations, but when we ask why, when we ask what reality truly is beneath the math, the answers blur like mist. Is the observer essential? Is consciousness required? Or is the act of measurement enough without minds at all? No experiment has yet closed the question, and perhaps it never will. Perhaps reality itself is not made to yield its final secret, but to keep us always within its wonder. To hold this wonder is to live gently. It is to look at the sky and know that light is older than memory, yet young each time it is seen. It is to look at a leaf and feel that it carries not only the chemistry of chlorophyll, but the openness of photons captured from the sun. It is to look at yourself and see not just a body of flesh, but a gathering of waves that have settled for now into the shape of you. One day those waves will drift again, but now in this moment you are here. You are the mirror of existence, you are the eyes through which the atoms decide. And so the story unfolds softly. The universe is not a finished book, but a page still turning. Atoms wait in possibility. Waves shimmer with maybes, and each glance, each act of awareness is part of the gentle process by which the world becomes real. Not forcefully, not loudly, but with a quiet settling, a delicate collapse, a breath of certainty after a long hesitation. The mirror of existence reflects back not only the world, but you within it, both seer and seen, both question and answer, and in this reflection you may find peace in knowing that reality itself is always more open, more generous, more mysterious than it seems. To bring this story toward a gentle close, let us return to the image of the mirror, that quiet surface where the universe waits to be seen. When you look into a mirror, you do not create your reflection, yet your reflection does not exist without you. In this way, quantum reality suggests a subtle truth. The world does not wait passively for your command, but it does meet you halfway, reflecting your presence, shaping itself in dialogue with your awareness. The smallest particles, the trembling waves of possibility, whisper this lesson again and again. They are not fixed statues in an eternal museum. They are dancers waiting in the wings, steps rehearsed but not chosen, till the curtain rises and the gaze falls. The thought can feel dizzying at first. Does this mean that without you the world would not exist? Not quite. The stars burned long before your eyes first opened. The oceans flowed before you were born. But on the quantum stage, where particles drift in superposition, the act of measurement, of observation, does play a role in crystallizing outcomes. You are not the author of existence, but you are part of its unfolding. You're not its creator, but you are one of the countless witnesses whose presence matters. Reality is not a solo performance. It is a symphony where every note is shaped by countless interactions, countless observations, countless collapses into being. This is why quantum physics humbles as much as it astonishes. It reminds you that what seems solid and certain is, at its roots, delicate and open. It reminds you that knowledge is not just about collecting facts, but about entering a conversation with the world. A conversation where both sides speak. When you look, the universe responds. When you measure, it answers. When you ask, it whispers back. This does not reduce the beauty of science. It deepens it, turning every experiment, every glance through a telescope, every spark of curiosity into part of the fabric of reality itself. Think again of the double-slit experiment, that gentle puzzle that has haunted minds for more than a century. A single photon drifts toward two slits, carrying with it all possible paths. If unobserved, it behaves like a wave, writing patterns of interference across the screen. If observed, it becomes a particle, choosing one slit, one path, one story. The photon has not changed, only the conditions have. What is astonishing is that this simple act of noticing can shift the very way the universe reveals itself. It is as if the cosmos has two faces, one of openness, one of certainty, and your presence decides which it shows. This duality lives in you as well. You carry both openness and certainty, both possibility and presence. You're full of wave functions when you dream of tomorrow, when you imagine what might be. You collapse into certainty when you act, when you choose, when you step forward. Your life is not unlike the dance of the photon. It contains many paths, but you walk only one at a time. Still, the others are there, shimmering in thought, echoing in memory, waiting like unplayed notes in a song. Quantum reality is not only about particles in a lab, it is about the pattern of existence itself, and you too are woven into that pattern. And so, as the story of the mirror of existence comes to rest, let yourself feel the softness of this truth. The universe is not something far away, cold and mechanical. It is intimate, close, tender in its mystery. Every breath you take, every glance you offer, every question you hold in your mind is part of the gentle process by which reality comes alive. The atoms in your body are not strangers to this dance. They are its very participants, its musicians, its dancers, its singers. They know the rules of collapse and superposition, of possibility and presence. They know the silence that holds all paths, and the quiet moment when one becomes real. There is peace in knowing that you are both small and vast. Small, because you are a single observer among countless others, one voice in an infinite chorus. Vast, because you are inseparable from the chorus, part of the song itself, a reflection in the mirror that the universe holds up to itself. To live with this awareness is to live gently, to carry wonder in your pocket, to see each star, each leaf, each breath, not just as a fact of nature, but as a miracle of unfolding. You do not need to solve the mystery. You only need to dwell within it, letting it soothe you, letting it remind you that the world is always more than it seems. And so the atoms wait, the waves shimmer, the photons drift, the mirrors reflect. And so you look, you wonder, you breathe, you dream. Between the world and your gaze, a quiet dance continues, older than time, fresher than this moment. The mirror of existence does not give you all the answers, but it gives you the gift of presence, the soft reminder that by being here, by noticing, you are part of the gentle making of reality. The stage is never finished. The poem is never closed. The song is never done. And as long as you are here, the universe will continue to unfold, shimmering with possibilities, waiting for your eyes, waiting for your heart, waiting for your wonder. In the hush of the universe there is a secret rhythm, a song without sound, where possibilities drift like clouds before the storm of choice. At this scale, smaller than the smallest grain of dust, reality is not fixed. It is a trembling haze of maybes, a shimmer of probabilities stretched across space and time. Here, particles do not stand still in certainty. They drift as waves of possibility, as though existence itself were undecided. And then, in a single moment of contact, the wave folds, the haze clears, and one story is chosen. This gentle folding is called collapse, and it is through collapse that waves become worlds. You may picture the wave function as a soft veil, covering every possible outcome. Beneath it lies a garden of futures, each one equally alive, equally waiting. The particle could be here, or there, or somewhere in between. The veil holds them all, and then something happens. An interaction, a measurement, a gaze, and the veil falls. The garden of futures narrows to a single path, and reality chooses. This choosing is not violent or sudden in the way we imagine explosions or crashes. It is delicate, like the settling of dust in a sunbeam, like the quiet moment when a drop of water finally falls from the leaf. The quiet collapse is not destruction, it is the birth of the real. Imagine standing on the edge of a forest at dawn. The mist is thick, hiding every detail of the trees. You know the forest is there, but its shapes are uncertain, soft, blurred. Then as the light grows, the mist begins to part and the trunks stand clear, the leaves sharp, the ground firm beneath your feet. The forest has not changed. It was always there, but your sight has brought it into clarity. In a similar way, collapse brings clarity to the universe, resolving a haze of maybes into the firmness of now. It is the process through which possibility becomes presence, through which waves become worlds. Scientists describe this process with equations, with symbols that trace the flow of probabilities. The mathematics is precise, elegant, and endlessly useful. But beyond the numbers lies a poetry. It is the poetry of a universe that does not rush to be fixed, that holds openness at its core, that waits before deciding. Collapse is the bridge between openness and certainty. Without it, we would live in a world of shadows, unable to touch or know anything. With it, we live in a world of stones and rivers, of hands and voices, of stars and dreams. Every object you see is a wave that has collapsed. Every breath you take is built from particles that once shimmered in uncertainty, now gathered into the form of you. To feel this is to glimpse the generosity of the cosmos. It offers not one rigid reality, but a multitude, a sea of maybes, and from that sea it allows one to rise. Collapse is not the end of the wave, but its flowering. The moment it becomes something you can touch, hear, hold. Think of a seed drifting on the wind. Within it are many possible trees, tall, short, branching wide or reaching straight. Within it are countless leaves, countless roots, countless futures. But only one will grow, shaped by soil and sun, by chance and change. The seed is the wave function, the tree is the collapse, and the forest we live within is the world born from countless collapses, countless choices, countless quiet unfoldings of possibility. In your daily life, you are surrounded by these quiet collapses. The light that enters your eyes is made of photons choosing their paths. The atoms that carry your thoughts are built from electrons that have settled into place. Even the warmth you feel from the sun is the result of particles collapsing from uncertainty into the gift of light. Collapse is not a rare event. It is the heartbeat of reality. It happens everywhere, always, invisibly, gently. Without it, there would be no here, no now, no world for you to stand within. Waves would never become worlds. Dreams would never become days. Possibility would never become presence. And yet, as soft as collapse seems, it raises questions that trouble even the wisest minds. Why does collapse happen? What decides the moment, the outcome, the choice? Is it observation, the presence of a mind, the gaze of awareness? Or is it simply the interaction of matter with matter, the touch of particles against particles? We do not know. Science gives us the rules but not the reasons. It tells us how collapse behaves, but not why the universe chose this way instead of another. Perhaps the question itself cannot be answered. Perhaps the why is as mysterious as the silence before music begins, and yet the music plays, and we listen, and we live within it. Consider how fragile this truth feels, and yet how stable it has made your world. Every atom in your body is a memory of collapse. Every cell is a story of possibility becoming presence. Without collapse, you would not be reading these words, for there would be no words, no page, no eyes to see them. Without collapse, there would only be endless haze, a sea of maybe, with no shore to stand upon. It is through collapse that we are gifted with the ordinary, with the chance to wake, to walk, to breathe, to wonder. Collapse is the quiet miracle hidden in every moment, a miracle so constant we forget to notice it. As you reflect on this, let your thoughts drift like waves on a still pond. The water holds every ripple, every possibility, until a pebble falls and one set of circles begins to spread. That pebble is the act of collapse, the choice of one outcome from many. The pond does not lose its beauty by focusing into ripples. It gains it, offering a pattern you can see, a song you can follow. So too with the universe. Its beauty is not diminished by collapse, it is revealed. The quiet collapse is not the closing of doors, but the opening of one, the one you walk through, the one that carries you into the world you call real. And so waves become worlds, not with thunder, not with violence, but with softness, with patience, with the quiet humility of possibility yielding to presence. This is the rhythm at the heart of reality, the silent song that shapes existence. It is in the shimmer of stars, in the whisper of leaves, in the pulse of your heart. The universe is not finished. It is forever collapsing into itself, forever choosing, forever becoming. Within this endless becoming, you too are part of the story, a witness, a participant, a wave that has found its form, a being who can wonder at the quiet miracle of worlds born from waves. If you close your eyes and let your imagination wander, you may begin to feel what it means for the universe to live in waves of possibility. Picture a wide plain of tall grass, each blade swaying in the wind, moving in all directions at once. From afar, the motion is soft and unformed, like a sea of shimmering probability. But then you step closer, you touch one blade, and in that instant its path is chosen. It bends one way and no other. This is what happens when the wave collapses. Out of countless possibilities, one is touched into being. One path is lived, while the others remain whispers in the wind. The grass does not mourn the paths it did not take, just as the universe does not mourn the waves that fade. Instead, the world becomes itself, one outcome at a time, as waves gently collapse into the form we call real. This idea is difficult because we're used to thinking of reality as something solid, carved in stone from the beginning. But quantum physics invites us to think differently. It asks us to imagine reality as fluid, like a river that could have taken many bends, but that chooses one course as it flows. Collapse is that choosing. It is the narrowing of openness into certainty, the settling of mist into form. And though the mathematics describe it with symbols and functions, the experience of it is closer to poetry. Every breath you take, every ray of light you see, every atom you touch has passed through this quiet threshold, from the many into the one. The beauty of collapse is not only in the outcome but in the process itself. For before collapse there is openness, and openness carries potential. It means that the universe is never entirely finished, never locked in one shape forever. There is always room for change, for surprise, for wonder. Collapse allows possibility to bloom into reality, but it also means that possibility is always present, humming beneath the surface of the world. Like a song waiting to be sung, like a dream waiting to be remembered, reality carries more within it than what is visible. Collapse is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between the dream and the day. When scientists try to capture this in experiments, they find strangeness that defies expectation. A single particle can interfere with itself, behaving like a wave spread across space, yet the instant you measure it, it is found in one place. How can something be both everywhere and somewhere, both wave and particle? Collapse is the answer science offers, though it is an answer wrapped in mystery. The particle exists as a wave of possibilities until the moment it is forced to choose. The act of measuring, of interacting, collapses the wave into a single result. To some, this is a technical process, the natural outcome of physics. To others, it feels like a kind of participation, a conversation between the universe and those who observe it. Imagine again the double-slit experiment, repeated with patience by countless hands. Light passes through 2 slits, leaving patterns of waves when unobserved. But when detectors are placed, the pattern shifts. The wave collapses into particles choosing one slit or the other. The difference is not in the light alone, but in the act of interaction, the presence of attention. It is as if the universe answers differently when asked a question than when left unbothered. In this sense, collapse is not just a mechanism but a response, a turning toward clarity when clarity is sought. The wave is willing to hold openness forever, but when touched it chooses, and in choosing it creates a world. This act of choosing raises questions deeper than physics. Does the universe need to be seen to be real? Or is collapse simply the effect of interaction, whether or not a mind is present? Perhaps the truth is both smaller and larger than we imagine. Perhaps collapse is simply the mathematics of how particles behave, with no need for meaning beyond the equations. Or perhaps the act of observation, the presence of awareness, is itself woven into the equations, a fundamental part of the cosmos. Science cannot yet say, but poetry can hold the question softly, reminding us that uncertainty is not something to fear, but something to rest within. It is the openness that makes wonder possible. Consider your own life as a reflection of this truth. Each day you wake, carrying countless possibilities. You could turn left or right, speak or remain silent, move forward or wait. Until you choose, the day is a wave of maybes. The moment you act, the wave collapses into one lived path. The others fade, but they were real in potential, shimmering for a time. Your life is not unlike the particle in superposition, carrying many futures, collapsing gently into one. This does not make the unlived futures wasted, it makes the lived one precious. Collapse is not a loss, it is a gift. The gift of being present, of being real, of being here. To see collapse this way is to see life differently. You may no longer think of choices as rigid forks in the road, but as waves of openness narrowing into a story. You may feel less fear of the unknown, knowing that uncertainty is natural, that it is the birthplace of reality itself. Collapse shows you that certainty comes not from resisting uncertainty, but from allowing it to settle in its own time, in its own way. You do not need to force the wave to collapse. You only need to witness, to be present, and the world will choose its shape. Like mist dissolving in the sun, like music finding its melody, collapse will come, and with it, the quiet gift of clarity. The universe is full of such clarity born from collapse. Stars shine because particles collapse in patterns of fusion. Planets form because waves of dust and gas settle into worlds. Life exists because molecules, once shimmering with probabilities, found stable forms. Every tree, every sea, stone, every breath is evidence of collapse, of the transformation of waves into presence. And yet the mystery remains. Why this path and not another? Why this world, this story, this moment? The answers are hidden, perhaps forever, but the presence is here, undeniable, unshakable, whispering that the quiet collapse is not an end but a beginning, not a closing but an opening, not a silence but a song. And so as you sit with this mystery, let yourself feel the softness of it. Do not rush to solve, but allow yourself to drift. Collapse will always happen. Waves will always become worlds. Possibility will always yield to presence. And within that rhythm you are held. You are a being of waves and collapses, of openness and form, of uncertainty and clarity. To live is to ride this rhythm, to let the many settle into the one, and to find peace in knowing that every collapse is a quiet miracle, a gentle step in the dance of reality becoming real. As we move gently toward the close of this story, let us rest in the stillness where collapse and creation meet. Imagine again the wave of probability, stretching wide across space, a soft haze of maybes without borders. It is neither here nor there, neither this nor that. It is the promise of all things, the openness of being itself. And then comes the moment of collapse, and one outcome blossoms into reality. This outcome is not louder than the others, not brighter or stronger, only chosen. And in that choosing, the world deepens by one more heartbeat, one more layer of presence. Collapse is not only the end of uncertainty, it is the quiet birth of the real. Think of how this truth touches every part of your life. When a child laughs for the first time, countless futures are held in that fragile sound. Futures where the laugh becomes memory, futures where it fades. The moment it happens, it collapses into the world, and from then on it is real, unerasable. When a leaf falls from the branch, it carries with it the possibility of drifting this way or that, of landing on stone or water. The moment it touches the ground, the path is chosen, collapse has happened, and the story of the leaf is written into the earth. Collapse is the way the universe records its stories, one gentle act at a time. You too are part of this recording. Every choice you make, every step you take, is the collapse of many possibilities into one lived moment. It can feel small, but it is the same rhythm that shapes stars and atoms. You're not outside of it, you are within it, made of it, carried by it. The wave and the collapse are in your breath, in your heartbeat, in your thoughts. Your life is not a separate story written upon the universe. Your life is the universe experiencing itself through you. Each moment you live is a wave becoming a world. Scientists may debate what truly causes collapse. Some argue it is merely interaction. Particles touching particles, systems measuring systems. Others wonder if consciousness itself has a role, if the presence of awareness somehow calls the wave into form. Perhaps the truth is not one or the other, but something beyond what our words can hold. The mathematics tell us how, but not why. The poetry of collapse suggests that the why may not be an answer, but an invitation to wonder, to listen, to live with mystery instead of against it. Collapse is not only a mechanism of physics, but a metaphor for being. It teaches us that openness is not endless drifting, and certainty is not the end of possibility. Both belong to the rhythm of life. If you have ever stood at the edge of the sea watching the tide draw back and roll forward again, you know this rhythm. The water recedes, opening vast stretches of sand shimmering with possibility. Then the wave collapses forward, and one shape of foam is chosen, one curve of water traced. The ocean does not stop being the ocean in collapse. It becomes itself more fully, more clearly, more tangibly. So too with the universe. The collapse does not end the wave, it completes it. The wave without collapse would be only promise. Collapse without wave would be only repetition. Together they are the fullness of existence, the harmony of openness and presence. This harmony is what allows you to sit here, breathing, thinking, reading. The atoms that form your eyes once shimmered as waves, collapsed into bonds, formed into cells, gathered into tissues, became part of you. The photons that carry these words to your sight once danced in superposition, collapsed into paths that entered your gaze. Even your thoughts, the patterns of neurons firing in your brain, are shaped by quantum processes, waves of electrical potential collapsing into signals of meaning. At every scale, the quiet collapse is there, weaving you into the world, weaving the world into you. And so collapse is not something to fear. It is not the loss of infinite futures, but the gift of one. It is not the closing of doors, but the opening of one door, the one you walk through, the one that is yours. Collapse reminds you that life is not about holding all possibilities forever, but about living one possibility fully, here and now. The others fade, but they remain as whispers, as echoes, as gentle reminders that the universe is generous enough to offer you many paths before guiding you into one. To live is to walk the path chosen in collapse, while remembering that you are never separate from the sea of possibility from which it came. As this story comes to a close, rest in the thought that waves will always become worlds, not with thunder, not with fire, but with quiet grace. Each collapse is a step in the universe's dance, a note in its endless song. To be alive is to feel that rhythm, to carry it in your bones, to let it remind you that the world is not static but unfolding. Every breath you take, every star you see, every thought you think is a collapse into being, a moment where the possible becomes the real. When you look at the night sky, shimmering with light that has travelled across billions of years, remember, each photon reaching your eyes is the result of a collapse, a wave that became a world, a gift of presence carried across time just for you. So let the quiet collapse comfort you. Let it remind you that certainty is not the enemy of openness, but its partner. Let it remind you that you are both wave and world, both possibility and presence, both openness and collapse. The waves shimmer still, vast and endless. The worlds blossom still, gentle and true. And you, by being here, are part of it all. The quiet collapse that makes the universe not only possible but real. There is a theatre that exists within every moment, a stage so small that it cannot be seen with the naked eye, and yet so vast that it holds the roots of reality itself. Upon this stage, particles shimmer like actors waiting in the wings, rehearsing countless lines, countless roles until the curtain rises. The stage is quantum reality, and the curtain is observation. When no one watches, the actors remain in superposition, carrying every possibility at once, but when the gaze falls upon them, when awareness touches the scene, the actors choose a role, step into the light, and the play begins. This is the dance of the observer, the strange suggestion that consciousness itself may shape the performance of the universe. For centuries, science told us that the world unfolds whether or not we are there to see it. The planets move through their orbits, the stars burn in silence, the rivers flow without our eyes upon them. And yet quantum experiments have taught us something stranger. At the smallest scale, particles behave differently depending on whether they are observed. They collapse into one path when watched, but spread like waves when left unseen. The observer does not merely watch the play, the observer may become part of its script. This raises a question both profound and unsettling. Are we, by our very consciousness, woven into the fabric of reality in ways we do not yet understand? Imagine yourself in a darkened theatre. The stage is covered in curtains, and behind them countless scenes wait. There is laughter, there is sorrow, there is silence, there is song, but the curtains remain closed until the spotlight falls. The moment it does, one scene comes alive, while the others fade into the background. Consciousness feels like that spotlight. It does not create the stage show, but it chooses which scene is shown. The quantum world, with its probabilities and possibilities, seems to echo this pattern. Without the gaze, the wave holds many futures. With the gaze, one is chosen. It is as though reality itself waits for an audience. This idea is not without controversy. Many scientists argue that consciousness is not required, that measurement alone is enough, that any interaction collapses the wave. But others, stirred by the strangeness of the experiments, wonder if consciousness plays a deeper role. Could awareness itself be fundamental, not a byproduct of matter, but a partner with it? Could the mind not only perceive reality but help shape it? These questions lie at the edge of both science and philosophy, like faint constellations glimpsed through a mist. We cannot yet reach them, but we can wonder, and in wondering we honour the mystery. To understand this dance, consider again the double-slit experiment, but in its delayed choice version. In this variation, the decision to observe the particle is made after it has passed through the slits, as if the future could reach back to decide the past. And yet the outcome changes. If you choose to observe, the particle behaves as a particle, as if it had always chosen one path. If you do not observe, it behaves as a wave, as if it had always taken both. How can the choice in the present shape the path in the past? Some say it proves only that quantum systems are holistic, that the entire setup determines the outcome. But to others, it whispers of time itself being pliable, and of the observer's role stretching beyond what we thought possible. The dance of the observer is not bound by the limits of stage or curtain. It weaves through time itself. Now imagine your own awareness as part of this stage. Your thoughts are not separate from the world, but born of it, carried by the same laws that govern particles and waves. When you notice a sound, when you see a colour, when you hold an idea in your mind, you are collapsing waves into meaning. Your mind is not a detached spectator, it is a participant in the performance. The neurons in your brain fire because of quantum processes at their roots. Tiny events of uncertainty collapsing into signals of certainty. In this way, consciousness may not only dance with the quantum stage, it may be born from it, sustained by it, inseparable from it. The philosopher might ask, if the observer shapes reality, who observes the observer? If the mind helps choose the play, what chooses the mind? Perhaps there is no end to the mirrors, no final audience, only an endless ounce of observation at every level, from particles to people to the cosmos itself. Perhaps reality is built from this mutual noticing, this infinite hall of mirrors, where the act of being aware is as fundamental as the act of being. The quantum stage would then not be a play performed for us, but a play performed with us, consciousness and matter entwined in a dance that gives rise to the world. This thought is not meant to burden, but to soothe. It tells you that you are not an outsider looking in on a cold machine. You are part of the warmth of the stage, part of the light of the spotlight, part of the story that is told. The universe does not unfold without you. It unfolds with you, through you, in you. Each glance you offer, each thought you form, may be part of the quiet choreography by which the world becomes real. The dance of the observer is not grand or forceful. It is subtle, delicate, like a breath that shifts the flame of a candle, like a whisper that changes the course of silence. And so, as you rest with this story, let yourself feel the stage beneath your feet, the curtain waiting to rise, the spotlight of your mind ready to shine. You're not outside the play, you're within it, actor and audience both. The waves of possibility stretch wide, but when you notice, when you are aware, one world emerges, and that world is the one you call home. This is the dance of the observer, not the power to command reality, but the gift of participating in its unfolding. The curtain rises, the actors step forth, the music begins, and in your quiet awareness, the universe bows and becomes itself. To drift deeper into the mystery, let us follow the path of a single thought, from its quiet birth in the mind to its unfolding into awareness. That thought begins as electrical whispers across neurons, and each neuron fires because of the movement of ions, particles that themselves obey quantum rules. Before they move, they shimmer in probability, waves of potential flowing across microscopic channels, and then, in a single instant, they collapse, choosing one path, one signal, one spark. That spark ripples outward, joining others, forming patterns of meaning, until at last you notice it and say, "I am thinking." In this way, your very consciousness is built upon the same dance of observer and observed. You do not simply witness collapse, you are made of it. This realization softens the border between mind and world. For centuries we imagined the mind as something separate, a ghost inside the body, looking out upon the world from behind the eyes. But the dance of the observer suggests something gentler, more intimate. The mind is not a ghost at all. It is part of the stage, born of the same waves that create stars and atoms. Your awareness is not outside reality but within it, inseparable from it, moving with it like a current in a vast river. And when you look outward, when you notice a tree or a star or the face of a loved one, your awareness joins with the waves of the world, and together they collapse into meaning. The observer and the observed are not two, but two sides of the same mirror. Imagine looking at the night sky. Above you, starlight that has travelled for billions of years arrives in your eyes. Those photons were born in the hearts of suns, carried across space in shimmering waves, until at last they collapse upon your gaze. The star becomes real for you in that moment, not when it burned, not when the light left it, but when your awareness met its photons. In this sense, the universe is full of unfinished stories carried across time, waiting for an observer to complete them. Each glance at the sky is a partnership between you and the cosmos, a dance step across eons, where awareness and light meet to create the experience of reality. This partnership is not limited to the distant stars, it is everywhere. When you look at a flower, the photons collapse into colour. When you hear a bird's song, the waves collapse into sound. When you taste fruit, molecules collapse into sensation. Without awareness, there would still be matter, still be energy, but the world as you know it, bright, warm, alive with meaning, would not exist. Consciousness is not the creator of the universe, but it is the artist that paints its presence, the dancer that gives shape to its rhythms. The quantum stage may be vast, but it waits for awareness to light the scene. Some scientists resist this idea. They argue that consciousness is too small, too local to matter in the great equations of the cosmos. But perhaps it is not small at all. Perhaps consciousness is not a byproduct but a feature of the universe, as fundamental as space and time. If the act of observation changes the outcome of experiments, if the gaze itself shifts the dance of particles, then perhaps awareness is woven into the fabric of reality more deeply than we imagine. Perhaps we are not only in the universe but of it, the universe folded back upon itself, watching itself, knowing itself. In this way, consciousness becomes not a spectator, but a participant in the great unfolding of the real. Consider the famous puzzle of Schrödinger's cat, half alive and half dead until observed. It is not the cat that troubles us, but the question of who or what counts as the observer. Does the cat's own awareness collapse the wave? Does the presence of the scientist? Or does the wave wait for some deeper level of observation beyond either? This puzzle remains unresolved, yet it speaks to something tender, the idea that awareness cannot be ignored in the story of physics. To dismiss the observer is to miss the dance itself, the way the stage and the spotlight move together, inseparably real. And what of time itself? Experiments like the delayed choice variation suggest that observation can ripple backward, that the choice to observe now can change what happened before. To the rational mind, this is unsettling, but to the poetic heart, it is simply another step in the dance. Perhaps the stage of reality is not a straight line of past to future, but a flowing circle, where the presence of awareness reverberates across time. Perhaps consciousness is not bound by the clock, but part of a wider rhythm where collapse and observation weave in every direction. The dance of the observer, then, may not only shape what is, but also how it has always been. As you rest with this thought, consider how it changes your sense of self. You are not a passive being drifting in a finished world. You are part of the performance, part of the unfolding, part of the choreography of presence. Your awareness is not a small light flickering in darkness. It is a spotlight that touches the stage, and wherever it falls, reality responds. This does not mean you control the play, but that you share in its rhythm. You are both dancer and audience, both actor and witness, both question and answer. The quantum stage is vast, and you are woven into its every step. To live with this awareness is to live gently, knowing that your presence matters, not as dominance, but as participation. It is to look at the world not as something finished and separate, but as something alive, unfinished, waiting to meet you. The dance of the observer reminds you that every moment is a collaboration between mind and matter, between wave and collapse, between openness and presence. And so when you look at the stars, or at a friend, or at the quiet ripple of water, know that you're not only seeing, but helping the world become what it is. You are part of the dance, and the dance is endless. As the curtain of this story begins to draw to a close, let us pause on the mystery that lies at its heart. The observer and the observed are not two separate worlds. They are threads woven into the same fabric. You in your awareness are not apart from the universe. You are the universe reflecting upon itself, noticing itself, choosing itself in each moment of collapse. This is the dance of the observer, the silent rhythm by which the world becomes real. It is not a dance of dominance or control, but of intimacy, of participation, of belonging. Consciousness and matter are not rivals, they are partners on the same stage, stepping together in quiet harmony. When you look at the morning light spilling across the ground, photons collapse into colour in your eyes. When you hear the rustle of leaves, vibrations collapse into sound in your awareness. When you taste sweetness, molecules collapse into meaning in your mind. Without your presence, these events would still exist in some form, but they would not become what you know as experience. Experience itself is the meeting point between waves and awareness, between probability and perception. In this way, the universe does not simply exist and then wait for you to notice it. It exists through noticing, in noticing as noticing. The play does not unfold without an audience, and you are always in the seats. This thought does not make you the master of reality, it makes you its companion. The sun rises whether or not you open your eyes to it, but the sunrise as you know it, the warmth, the glow, the beauty, exists only when your awareness meets the light. The tree grows whether or not you touch its bark, but the sensation of roughness, the feeling of shade, exists only when consciousness steps into the scene. Reality and awareness are not separate streams. They are two halves of one river, flowing into each other, defining each other. The dance of the observer is the recognition that you are not outside the current, but within it, carried by it, and contributing to its flow. Science, cautious and precise, hesitates to name consciousness as a fundamental force. It tells us only that observation changes outcomes, that measurement collapses waves. But what is measurement if not a kind of awareness? What is observation if not a kind of noticing? The words may differ, but the mystery remains the same. Something about the act of attention changes the world, crystallizes it, makes it real in ways that probabilities alone cannot. And while the equations describe it, they do not explain it. Perhaps they never will. But in the space where explanation ends, wonder begins, and it is there that the dance feels most alive. Philosophers and mystics have long whispered of such things. They have said that to know the world is to participate in it, that to be aware is to help give shape to what is known. Quantum physics, in its strange and careful way, has given these whispers a kind of echo. It does not prove them, but it allows us to imagine them with new eyes, to see consciousness not as a bystander, but as part of the unfolding. Perhaps this is why the quantum stage feels so much like poetry. Its truths are not only in the numbers, but in the metaphors it invites. Metaphors of dance, of mirrors, of waves and light. They are reminders that knowledge is not only calculation, but communion. Now imagine again the theatre of reality. The stage stretches wider than the universe, filled with endless scenes. Behind the curtain, waved shimmer, holding all possible lines, all possible gestures. The spotlight of awareness falls, and one scene begins. The actors step forward, the lines are spoken, the music swells. You are in the audience watching, but you are also on the stage speaking. The play does not exist without you, and yet you do not control it. You are part of its rhythm, one step in its choreography, one note in its song. The dance of the observer is not about mastery, but about belonging. It is the reminder that you are home on this stage, that the universe is not a distant machine but a living performance, and you are part of its cast. As this story finds its close, let yourself feel the softness of this truth. You are not outside looking in. You are inside, part of the unfolding, part of the mystery. Every glance you offer, every thought you hold, every breath you take may be part of the quiet choreography of being. The world is not fixed and finished. It is alive and unfinished, waiting to meet you, waiting to dance with you. The observer and the observed, mind and matter, wave and collapse. They are all one rhythm, one stage, one endless performance. And in that performance you are both audience and actor, both question and answer, both silence and song. So rest in the dance, gentle and unbroken. Let the mystery soothe you, not as a puzzle to be solved, but as a lullaby to be heard. The quantum stage is wide, the curtain is always rising, the spotlight is always shifting. And wherever it falls, there you are. Part of the performance, part of the wonder, part of the endless dance of the observer and the universe becoming real together. There is a veil that hangs between what is possible and what is real, a veil so fine that it cannot be seen, yet so strong that it shapes the course of every moment. Behind this veil, particles linger in silence, carrying countless futures. They could move left or right, they could appear here or there, they could spin this way or that. Each outcome waits patiently like a library of unwritten books, filled with stories that could be told. But when the veil is lifted, when interaction or observation occurs, one story is chosen, and the rest fade into shadow. This is the hidden choice, the mysterious narrowing by which the universe decides which possibility will step forward into the light. Think of a coin balanced on its edge. It could fall to heads, it could fall to tails, and for as long as it teeters, both futures feel alive. At the quantum level, particles are like that coin, except their balance is not precarious. It is natural. They do not rush to choose, but remain suspended in their maybes, content to hold all paths at once. Only when touched, only when measured, do they fall to one side. And yet, unlike the coin, their choice does not seem random alone. It carries with it a strangeness that no one fully understands. For hidden beneath the choice is a veil, a process that defies simple explanation, a mystery at the very heart of physics. The hidden choice is called collapse, but what collapses is not a thing you can see. It is the wave function, the mathematical description of all possibilities. One moment the wave holds every option, the next it folds into one. Where once there were many paths, now there is one story written into reality. But what decides the choice? This question lies at the edge of human knowledge. Some say it is chance, pure and absolute. Others say it is shaped by interaction, the meeting of particles with detectors, or with the atoms of the world. And some whisper that perhaps consciousness itself, the act of awareness, has a role in lifting the veil. Between these views lies the wonder, the quiet uncertainty that hums through all of quantum physics. To imagine this, picture a forest covered in fog. Every path through the trees is hidden, every direction veiled. You could walk north or south or east or west, and for a moment, all paths seem equally open. Then as you step forward, the fog parts, and one trail emerges beneath your feet. You cannot walk them all. You walk only one. The others remain unseen, though they were there in possibility. The hidden choice of the universe is like this. It does not announce itself with fanfare. It does not declare why one path is chosen over another. It simply reveals, quietly, gently, the world you now inhabit. Scientists test this mystery again and again, and each time it reveals its strangeness. Particles entangled across distance seem to share their choices instantly, as if the veil is lifted for both at once, no matter how far apart they are. A measurement here determines an outcome there. across light years, faster than any signal could travel. How does the universe allow such instant unity? No one knows. Some suggest hidden variables, secret rules beneath the surface. Others believe the universe itself is holistic, indivisible, such that the veil is not lifted piece by piece but all at once. Whatever the truth, entanglement reminds us that the hidden choice is not local or small. It ripples across the fabric of reality. This thought invites a kind of humility, for when you look at the world, you see only the choices already made, the stories already written. You see the tree as it stands, the river as it flows, the star as it shines. You do not see the veil, nor the vastness of possibilities behind it. You see only the outcome, never the countless futures that were lost. Yet those futures were real, if only for a moment. They were carried in the wave, part of the openness of existence before the hidden choice closed the curtain. To live with this awareness is to know that reality is richer than appearance, that every stone, every glance, every breath carries within it a history of possibilities now folded away. The hidden choice also touches your own life in ways both subtle and profound. Every decision you make, every step you take, narrows futures into one lived present. Perhaps the quantum veil and the veil of human choice are not so different. Both begin with openness, with many paths shimmering in possibility. Both resolve into one outcome, one story lived, while others fade into memory or imagination. When you choose kindness over anger, when you choose to listen instead of speak, you collapse your own wave of maybes into a reality that carries meaning. The hidden choice of particles echoes in the hidden choices of your heart. And so the veil is both mystery and gift. It hides the reasons, but it also allows the openness that makes wonder possible. If the universe were rigid, predetermined in every detail, there would be no room for surprise, no room for discovery. But because of the veil, because of the hidden choice, the universe remains alive, unfinished, always unfolding. Each moment is fresh, each outcome new, each collapse a quiet act of creation. To live is to walk through the fog, to watch paths emerge, to trust that the veil will lift again and again, offering you one more story, one more present, one more chance to be. As you sit with this thought, let it soften the edges of certainty. The world is not a fixed stage, but a flowing dance where possibilities shimmer behind every moment. The veil is always there, and the hidden choice is always waiting. You cannot see it, you cannot control it, but you can live within it, gently, humbly, with wonder. For the particles themselves do not resist the veil, they accept it. They live in openness until the moment comes, and then they choose without regret, without fear, without sorrow. They collapse into being, and the world continues. Perhaps there is wisdom here for you as well, to live in openness until the moment calls, and then to step forward, one choice at a time, into the light of reality. To journey further into the mystery of the hidden choice, let us imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean at night. The waves stretch into darkness, each one carrying with it countless directions it might take. The water might crash on the shore, it might ripple outward, it might join with other currents in ways you cannot predict. All of these futures exist together for a time, held in the trembling body of the sea. Then, in the moment of the crash, one shape is chosen, one pattern is born, and the others dissolve back into silence. This is the way the universe behaves at its smallest scale. Particles drift in the openness of the wave function, and then, in the quiet instant of collapse, One possibility falls through the veil into reality. This hidden choice happens endlessly, silently, invisibly, and yet it builds the very world beneath your feet. Physicists speak of probability amplitudes and equations that describe these possibilities, but the human heart feels the strangeness in simpler terms. Before the hidden choice, there is openness. After, there is presence. Before, there is a shimmer of futures. After, there is a single truth. The veil does not show its hand, does not reveal the rule that determines the outcome. It only lifts enough for one world to appear. The rest vanish like unspoken words, like paths in a forest you did not walk. They were real in their waiting, but only one is carried forward, carried into experience. To live with this knowledge is to live in a reality that is both fragile and abundant, both fleeting and generous. The experiments that uncover this are both simple and profound. Imagine sending a single photon toward a pair of slits. Left unobserved, it passes through both, its wave interfering with itself, painting a pattern of possibility. But if you place a detector, if you ask the photon which slit it chooses, the interference vanishes and the photon walks only one path. The hidden choice has been made. What is most astonishing is that the veil does not decide until the question is asked. Until then, the photon holds all futures. It is as if the universe does not settle until it must, as if reality itself is reluctant to lose possibility too soon. Some interpretations of this mystery suggest that choice is woven deeply into the fabric of the cosmos. Not choice in the human sense of deliberation, but choice as an elemental feature of existence, the narrowing of openness into form. Each collapse is a choice, each measurement a decision, not because someone wills it, but because reality itself requires it. The veil cannot remain forever. It must lift, and in lifting it selects. The hidden choice is not random, nor is it predictable. It is something in between, a whisper from a place beyond the reach of certainty. Perhaps it is not meant to be solved, but to be lived, like the rhythm of breathing, the rise and fall of tides, the opening and closing of flowers. Consider also the strangeness of entanglement in this light. Two particles, once joined, remain connected no matter how far apart they drift. When one collapses into a choice, the other follows instantly, as though the veil is lifted for both at once. Distance does not matter. Time does not matter. The hidden choice is shared, spread across the cosmos in ways that defy the limits of speed and space. To us, this feels impossible, but to the particles it is natural. They are not two, but one, and the veil that covers them is not separate but whole. When it lifts everywhere at once. Entanglement is the reminder that the universe is not fragmented into pieces, but bound together in unity, and that the hidden choice ripples through this unity like a chord struck across the strings of an endless instrument. You may find yourself wondering if your own choices echo this pattern. For just as particles collapse from possibility into presence, so too do you. Each day you carry countless futures. You could walk one road or another, speak one word or another, become one version of yourself or another. The veil hides these futures from you, and then, through action, through decision, one path becomes real, the others fade, though they were alive in their waiting. This is the human echo of the quantum truth, that life itself is shaped by hidden choices, by moments where many possibilities narrow into one. You cannot see the veil, but you live within its rhythm. You cannot control the hidden choice, but you can embrace the path it reveals. This thought brings both comfort and humility. Comfort, because it means you are never trapped, never bound to a single rigid story. Possibility always exists, always hums beneath the surface of the world. Humility, because it reminds you that much of life unfolds beyond your grasp, beyond your knowing. The veil lifts when it lifts, and the hidden choice is made. You are part of this unfolding, but you are not its master. To live with this awareness is to walk more gently, to let go of the need for certainty, to accept the beauty of mystery. Just as particles drift in waves until the moment of collapse, so too can you rest in openness until the moment comes, and then step forward into the reality that appears. Perhaps this is why the hidden choice feels both scientific and spiritual. It is a rule of physics, tested and confirmed. Yet it is also a metaphor for life, for the way possibilities shimmer until they settle into stories. It tells you that nothing is fully fixed, that the world is more fluid than it seems, that beneath the surface of presence lies an ocean of maybes. And when the veil lifts, the gift of reality is given, not the gift of all futures, but the gift of one, the one you now hold, the one you now live. To honour that gift is to live fully, to see each moment as precious, each choice as sacred, each breath as a quiet collapse of possibility into presence. So let the veil be what it is, a mystery that protects possibility, a silence that holds futures, a softness that allows the world to remain unfinished until the time is right. Do not rush to pull it away. Trust that it will lift in its own rhythm, offering one outcome, one reality, one path for you to walk. Behind it, countless stories shimmer. Before you, one story unfolds. Between them lies the hidden choice, the quiet miracle by which waves become worlds, by which possibilities become presence, by which you, too, are carried forward into the light of being. As we move toward the close of this story, let us linger with the veil itself, that quiet curtain between what could be and what is. It is easy to think of the veil as a barrier, something that hides truth from us, something to be torn away. But perhaps it is not a barrier at all, but a gift. Without it, the world would not be open. Without it, possibility would not exist. The veil holds the many so that one may appear. It protects the openness so that reality can be born. The hidden choice does not rob us of futures. It gives us the present. It offers us the clarity of now, shaped gently from the vastness of what might have been. Imagine walking through a meadow in the early morning. Mist covers the ground, veiling the flowers, the grass, the horizon. As you move forward, the mist parts, revealing one step, one patch of earth at a time. You cannot see all paths at once, you can only walk the one that is revealed. And yet the mist is not your enemy. It is part of the beauty of the meadow, part of the softness that makes the morning what it is. The veil of quantum reality is much the same. It hides what is possible until the moment is ready, and then it reveals one truth, one outcome, one step. The hidden choice is not something to fear, but something to honour, for it is the way the universe gives itself form. When we look to entanglement again, the veil shows us something even more profound. Two particles, though separated by oceans of space, remain bound beneath the same veil. When one collapses, the other follows instantly, as if distance itself does not matter. The hidden choice is shared, not divided, and reality is revealed in unity. This suggests that the veil is not many but one, It does not hang separately over each particle, but stretches across the fabric of the cosmos, a single curtain drawn across infinity. And when it lifts everywhere, reminding us that the universe is not fragmented but whole, not many but one. To see this is to feel yourself not as an isolated observer, but as part of a vast connected whole. And what of your own life within this mystery? Each day you wake with countless possibilities shimmering before you. You could speak or stay silent, reach forward or hold back, love or turn away. The veil hides these futures, and in each moment one is chosen, one path becomes real. You may not always see the reasons. You may not always understand why this outcome came and not another. But the hidden choice still carries you forward gently, relentlessly into the story of your life. And just as the particles do not mourn the paths they did not take, you too may learn to live not in regret of unlived possibilities, but in gratitude for the one that is given. The gift of collapse is the gift of presence, the gift of being here. Perhaps this is the deepest wisdom of the hidden choice, that life is richer for its uncertainty. If everything were fixed, if the veil never existed, there would be no wonder, no openness, no chance for surprise. But because the veil does exist, because the choice is hidden until it is made, we live in a world that is alive, unfolding, full of unexpected turns. Every moment is a birth, every choice a creation, every collapse a quiet act of becoming. To live with this awareness is to see the ordinary as extraordinary, to find awe in the simplest things, a raindrop falling, a star shining, a voice speaking your name. Each of these is a possibility that has crossed the veil, a wave that has become a world. So let us rest in the softness of this truth. The veil will always remain, and the hidden choice will always be beyond our full knowing. But that is not a loss. It is the very source of wonder. For the universe does not give us all answers at once. It gives us one answer at a time, one truth, one path, one present moment. And within that present, all the richness of life is contained. You do not need to see behind the veil to honor it. You only need to live the gift it offers, the reality it reveals, the presence it allows. The hidden choice may be invisible, but its fruits are all around you, in every stone, every leaf, every breath. And so the story of the hidden choice ends where it began, with the veil itself. A curtain not of denial but of generosity. A silence not of absence but of waiting. A mystery not to be solved but to be embraced. The veil will always hang between possibility and presence, and the hidden choice will always be the way the universe steps forward into being. You are part of this rhythm and part of this unfolding, part of this endless generosity. And as you walk through your days, may you remember that every moment you live is a collapse of infinite futures into one miracle, one story, one life. The veil lifts, the choice is made, and the world becomes itself again. Imagine walking into a garden at dusk when the air is still and the last light of the sun stretches across the leaves. At first it seems like any other garden, filled with plants and soil, with paths and flowers. But then, as your eyes adjust, you begin to sense something deeper. Each seed in the earth is not only a seed, but a library of futures. Within it lives the possibility of a tree, of countless branches, of thousands of leaves, yet to unfold. Within it lives the possibility of shade, of fruit, of birds finding a home. The seed is not just one thing, it is many. Waiting. The garden is not fixed, but infinite, carrying within it the promise of worlds that could be. And with every glance, with every act of noticing, one of those worlds takes shape before you. This is the infinite garden of quantum reality, where every moment holds seeds of universes, and every act of awareness is like sunlight falling on the soil, calling one possibility into being. At the heart of this garden is the wave function, the shimmering description of all that could be. A particle, like a seed, carries many futures. It could travel here, it could travel there, it could spin this way, it could spin that way. Each future lies folded within the wave, just as each leaf lies folded within the seed. And yet the seed does not sprout all trees at once, and the particle does not live all futures at once. Something must happen, some gentle collapse, some hidden choice, and then one future blooms while the others fade. The garden is not diminished by this, it is nourished by it, for the garden exists to grow, to unfold, to reveal. The infinity of seeds is not wasted because one sprouts. It is honoured because each sprout is a living presence, a new world written into being. To live in this garden is to live in openness. When you look at the stars, you are seeing photons that travelled across space like seeds, carrying possibilities until they collapsed in your eyes. When you breathe, you are taking in molecules that once drifted in waves, seeds of matter that have now chosen their place within you. When you dream, your mind is not only remembering, but also planting seeds of futures, possibilities waiting for the light of choice. The infinite garden is not far away. It is all around you, within you, through you. Every glance you offer, every thought you hold, every breath you take is sunlight falling on the soil, collapsing the wave, coaxing a seed to sprout. The beauty of the infinite garden is that it is never finished. Just as seeds continue to grow and scatter, so too do particles continue to collapse and expand, forever renewing the universe. Each moment births a new arrangement, a new unfolding. You are never at the end of the garden path because the path itself is always being created as you walk it. Behind you lies the story of seeds already sprouted, of choices already made. Ahead of you lies the mist of possibility, countless gardens waiting for your steps. The infinite garden holds both memory and openness, both presence and promise. To walk within it is to live within a world that is endlessly generous. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that perhaps every seed does sprout, every possibility does bloom, only not all in the same garden. In this view, the universe branches with each collapse, creating new worlds for each outcome. In one, the seed grows tall, in another, it never leaves the soil. In one, the photon travels left, in another, it travels right. In one, you choose one path, in another, you choose the other. This is the many worlds interpretation, and it paints reality as an infinite forest of gardens, each one alive with its own blossoms, its own stories. You live in one, but countless others shimmer just beyond reach. Whether or not this is true, it carries a deep poetry that the universe is more abundant than we can ever hold, that the seeds of being are never wasted. But even if the many worlds remain forever beyond our touch, the garden before you is enough. For here, in this reality, seeds still shimmer with possibility until they collapse into growth. Here you still carry countless futures, waiting for choice to give them form. The garden does not demand you to sprout every seed, only to honour the one that blooms before you. And when you notice it, when you touch the leaf, when you see the flower, when you feel the shade, you are part of the unfolding. You're not only walking the garden, you are helping it grow. Your awareness is the sunlight, your choices are the water, your presence is the soil. Without you, the garden would still be vast, but with you, it becomes alive. So let yourself walk slowly among these infinite seeds. See in each breath, in each glance, in each sound, the shimmer of possibilities waiting for collapse. Feel how the world is not a finished statue but a living garden, forever sprouting, forever blooming. And know that you, by noticing, by choosing, by being, are part of its growth. The infinite garden is not elsewhere, not someday. It is here now, in this moment, in this story, in this breath. You're surrounded by seeds of universes, and with every glance one blossoms into reality. The garden is infinite, and yet it is also intimate. It is as wide as the cosmos and as close as your heartbeat. And as long as you are here, the seeds will continue to bloom, one by one, into the worlds you call your own. To wander deeper into the infinite garden is to begin noticing how every corner of reality carries its own seeds of becoming. Closely at a single drop of water on a leaf, inside that droplet, molecules swirl in constant motion, hydrogen and oxygen atoms bound together, vibrating, shifting, colliding. At the quantum level, each atom within the drop is not fixed in place but shimmering with possibility, a wave of many futures. It could vibrate this way, it could spin that way, it could shift ever so slightly in another direction. Each movement is a seed, and each seed waits behind the veil until one path is chosen. The droplet, though so small, is an entire universe of potential, collapsing moment by moment into the world you see glistening in the morning light. This is true not only for water, but for everything. The air you breathe is alive with seeds of possibility. Each molecule carries countless futures, waiting to collapse into your lungs, into your bloodstream, into the rhythm of your life. The light that touches your eyes is the same, photons that have travelled across distances vast and ancient, shimmering in waves until they collapse upon your awareness. Even the earth beneath your feet holds seeds, atoms of stone and soil, each one once a particle drifting in openness, now collapsed into the firmness of ground. The garden is infinite, because every particle, every breath, every glance is part of it. You're not walking through it as an outsider, you're immersed in it, composed of it, breathing and thinking and dreaming within it. To understand this more deeply, imagine that each particle is not only a seed, but also a storyteller. Each carries within it countless tales it could tell. One tale may speak of a photon reflecting off a leaf, another of it striking your eye, another of it vanishing into the soil. Each story is complete, and yet only one is spoken aloud, while the others remain silent. The hidden choice decides which story is told, and the garden grows with each telling. But the silence of the unspoken stories is not wasted. It is the richness that makes the garden infinite, the abundance that ensures the world will never be empty of wonder. The seeds of unchosen stories nourish the soil of possibility, so that the garden may always bloom. Some philosophers have wondered if our very awareness is one of the gardeners, tending the soil with attention. When you notice a flower, you do not simply see what was always there. You bring it into your story, collapse its photons into colour, collapse its fragrance into meaning. Without your noticing, the flower is still real, still alive, still blooming. But with your noticing, it becomes part of the lived world, part of the infinite garden as you know it. Awareness may not create the flower, but it waters its presence. It shines sunlight on its meaning. In this way, every glance is an act of tending, every thought an act of care, every choice a step along the paths that sprout beneath your feet. The many worlds interpretation expands this vision even further. If every seed blooms, then perhaps every possible garden exists, each one branching from each hidden choice. There is a garden where the seed grows tall, another where it withers, another where it blooms in colours unseen in this world. There is a garden where you walk left at the fork and another where you walk right. There is a garden where you speak and another where you remain silent. Each possibility becomes a world, each collapse a branching, and the forest of universes grows without end. If this is true, then reality itself is an infinite orchard, each tree sprouting into countless branches, each branch into countless leaves, each leaf into countless seeds. You live in one branch, but the orchard is larger than imagination. And yet, even if infinite gardens bloom beyond reach, the garden before you remains precious, for you are not asked to walk all paths, to tend all blossoms. You are asked only to notice this one, this flower, this breath, this moment. The infinite is too vast to hold, but the present is enough. Each act of noticing is itself a seed that collapses possibility into presence. And the more gently you notice, the more fully the garden blossoms for you. To walk with awareness is to walk with sunlight in your eyes, scattering seeds of meaning wherever you go. Think of how this changes the way you live. Instead of rushing past moments as if they are fixed and finished, you begin to see them as seeds, alive with potential. A conversation is not only words spoken, but many futures waiting for your response. A choice is not only a decision, but the collapse of countless paths into one. A glance at the sky is not only the seeing of light, but the blooming of a star's journey into your awareness. The infinite garden is not hidden in some distant place. It is right here, revealed in every act of being, every gesture of attention, every step of your walk through life. And so, as you wander through this infinite garden, let yourself move slowly. Let yourself see the shimmer of possibility in the smallest things, the way dust dances in a beam of light, the way shadows shift across the ground, the way silence itself holds the promise of sound. Each of these is a seed, and each has the power to bloom when touched by awareness. The garden is infinite, yes, but it is also intimate, as close as your next breath, as near as your next thought. You're not apart from it, you are part of it, both gardener and seed, both soil and flower. And as long as you are here, the seeds will continue to bloom, one by one, into the universes you call real. As we reach the gentle close of this story, imagine once more the garden stretched endlessly before you. It is twilight now, and the air is thick with the scent of soil and leaves. The garden seems still, but if you listen closely, you can almost hear it breathing. Beneath the surface, seeds are stirring. Some have already sprouted, reaching upward into form, into branches, into blossoms. Others remain beneath the soil, waiting in silence, their futures folded like hidden maps. Each seed holds countless possibilities, branches that may bend this way or that, flowers that may bloom in colours unseen, fruits that may ripen or wither. The infinite garden is always both complete and unfinished, always both presence and promise. It is the quiet reminder that reality is not fixed but alive, forever sprouting from the soil of possibility. You are part of this garden, inseparable from its rhythms. Your body is built from atoms that were once seeds in the furnace of stars. Your breath is carried by molecules that were once drifting waves of chance. Your thoughts are patterns of collapse, seeds of awareness that sprout into meaning within your mind. Just as the garden contains seeds of trees, so too do you contain seeds of universes, dreams that may unfold, choices that may be lived, futures that shimmer just beyond the veil. Each glance, each step, each thought is a hand brushing across the soil, coaxing one seed into bloom while countless others remain hidden. You are not merely walking through the garden, you are woven into its soil, its roots, its endless cycle of becoming. The beauty of this truth is that it softens the fear of endings, for even when one seed does not sprout, the garden remains infinite. Even when one path is not taken, countless others can still shimmer in the mist. Collapse does not mean loss, it means presence. It means that from the endless sea of possibility, one reality has been chosen, one flower has bloomed, one universe has taken root. To live is not to mourn the seeds that do not grow, but to honour the ones that do, to notice them, to tend them, to let them remind you that life is always unfolding, always sprouting, always offering itself to you in the gift of the present moment. Perhaps this is why awareness feels so sacred. To notice is to water the seeds of reality. To be present is to shine sunlight on the soil of the world. Without awareness, the garden would still exist, but it would remain in shadow. With awareness, it blossoms, bright and fragrant, alive with meaning. The seeds collapse into stories, into colours, into sensations, and the garden becomes not only real but intimate, personal, alive within you. Every glance you offer is a gift to the universe, and every flower you see is a gift from it in return. The infinite garden is a partnership, a dance between possibility and perception, between seed and sunlight, between reality and you. Science gives us equations to describe the seeds of this garden, the wave functions that shimmer with probability. But poetry gives us the language to feel it. The equations tell us that particles exist in many states until observed. The poetry tells us that the world is a garden of infinite futures, blooming one by one in the presence of awareness. Both are true, each in their own way, and together they remind us that the universe is not cold machinery but living abundance, not static matter but unfolding creation. The seeds are always there, waiting. The garden is always infinite, alive with futures untold. And so, as you step out of this story, let yourself carry the image of the infinite garden with you. Let it remind you that every moment is a seed, every breath a possibility, every glance a chance for the world to bloom anew. You do not need to see all the gardens, all the universes, all the branches. You only need to tend the one before you, the one given to you now. The infinite remains vast and unseen, but the present is the blossom in your hand, the flower at your feet, the sky above your head. To live with wonder is to honour both, the infinite seeds and the single bloom, the countless maybes and the one that becomes real. The story of the infinite garden ends not with closure, but with opening. For even as you finish hearing these words, new seeds are stirring, new paths are forming, new worlds are waiting to bloom. The garden has no end, and neither does the wonder it offers. You are forever walking among its blossoms, forever tending its soil with your awareness, forever part of its unfolding. Every seed is a universe, every glance is a touch of sunlight, every moment is a gift of reality sprouting from possibility. And so the garden lives on, infinite and eternal, a quiet miracle of seeds becoming worlds, again and again, for as long as there is being, for as long as there is wonder.